Hey guys, Tuesday afternoon, about to eat a burrito bowl from Qdoba. I'm all excited about it. I love them. I said last week that I would try to get a video out on Saturday or Sunday when we got back from camping, and then the 4th of July week was so short, and then we headed out of town for a family vacation to Pikes Peak with my parents and my sister and brother-in-law and had a great time. So I learned something though. I'm gonna stop trying to put timelines on when I need to get another video out, or when or trying to project that I'm gonna have more information out at this time. It just works better, and it'll be a much better system if that when things come and I feel and I have time to share them and I feel it's important to share it, I'll do that. So no more empty promises there, because it's with my schedule and with everything else I have going on, it's just not going to work to keep saying that I'll have more stuff out by this date and then not doing it. So anyway, had a great time. Pikes Peak was awesome, and back to it. The last couple videos I made, I talked about the lens of your life, how you're viewing your life. I talked about, and then I started the part 1 of taking your power back. I want to do part 2 of taking your power back, and I want to talk about something very, very simple, and I'll keep it short for now because there's a lot to cover. But there's a move. It's an old topic, but it's something that's very new, at least in our culture. So the topic of, and it even goes back there's a scriptural reference. So Jesus said, love thyself, or love your neighbor as thyself. And I would say there's a new, and there's many different types of religions and ways that can be said. It's written many different ways. But we know it's important to love ourselves. And there is this I would say kind of an awakening in everybody's collective consciousness that it is important to have, to love yourself. And I agree with that. And I want to share with you a little bit of my experience with loving myself. So I think a lot of how this stuff goes, and again, this is my experience only, is how you define certain things. I don't define love as something as simple as just a feeling. And I'll explain that. So I have been in my marriage for 15 years. I love my wife. I love her more now than I actually believe I did when I first got married, because love was a different concept to me at that stage of my life. So when we say we need to love ourselves, first, what is your definition of love? If it's as simple as a feeling, then you may struggle with this. And it's going to be really hard to stay in the constant feeling of, I love myself. Because feelings come and go, as you know. We have a good day, we have a bad day, we have a good morning, we have a upset afternoon, or vice versa, however it goes. So to me, the way that I have stayed in love with my wife that I've been married to for 15 years is not by just every day for the last 15 years I have felt in love with her. That's not true. There are days of the last 15 years that I guarantee you my wife has not felt very in love with me or happy with me or whatever. So I don't define love as a feeling, because that feeling constantly changes. I define love as a commitment, a chosen commitment to stay in relationship. And it has flourished. I'm 15 years along, and I absolutely love that woman, my wife Emily, more than I did when I was dating her. And I believe that she loves me more now than she possibly could have back when we were first married, because she has been spending all of this time, and I've been spending all of this time learning how to relate to her, and she's been learning how to relate to me. That's really the richness of our relationship, is knowing each other. Because then when she does something that doesn't make me feel so great, or I do something that doesn't make her feel so great, I don't have to associate with that immediate feeling, because in the savings account, in the bank of our relationship, there's a covenant and there's a connection, there's a commitment. And I know that she understands me, even though in this moment I may not be the highest version of myself, but she loves me because she's in covenant with me and we've been in a relationship. She knows how to relate to me. So before we throw terms around like we need to learn how to love ourselves, first look at how you define love. because loving yourself is a huge, huge part of gaining your power back. You have to learn to love yourself in everything that you are and everything that you're not. The only way to truly do that, from my experience and from my understanding, is to stop trying to love yourself based on the feelings of the day. I feel great today. It's Friday morning, got plans for the weekend. Everything's going to be awesome. Monday morning comes. I don't like this. I don't like that. This stinks. This is tough. And you're never going to find how to love yourself. It's going to be this emotional volleying, basically, of a ping pong ball back and forth, until you learn how to take your power back. Like, for example, how I did was to say, okay, stop, Ryan, stop trying to love yourself through every emotion. Become an observer of those emotions, but at a deeper level, have a connection with yourself. So, what do I mean by that? Here's a question. What have you learned about yourself in the last year? What have you done to relate to yourself better in the last year? Whether it's prayer, meditation, exercise, whatever. Have you done anything to learn about yourself and what makes you tick and why you do the things that you do in the last year? If not, my recommendation would be to step out of the game of I need to love myself and step into the realm of I need to commit. I need to create a commitment right now, today, that I want to learn about why I do what I do. I want to know why Ryan some days might feel good and some days might not. I want to know what Ryan's afraid of and what Ryan's excited about. I want to know what makes me tick and what doesn't, because as I learn about myself, as I've learned about my wife over the last 15 years, I can grow into love with myself. Not just all of a sudden wake up and, I'm miserable today, so I don't love myself. Or I had a bad thought or a bad experience yesterday, so I don't love myself. No. You have to be able to relate to yourself. Emily doesn't love me because I'm perfect all the time. God, our marriage would have failed a long, long time ago. But she made a commitment to understand me, and I made a commitment to understand her. So I would challenge you today, as the rest of the world is kind of, at least from the people that I'm around, there's this connection in consciousness where people are realizing that I have to think better about myself. I have to treat myself better. We'll start that by not just throwing it out there that I'm going to love myself. Start by saying, I want a relationship with myself. I want to be able to relate to me and why I do the things that I do. And then over time, you won't become so judgy based on the momentary feelings up or down. You won't be so hard on yourself about so many things because you understand why you are the way that you are. How your childhood affects your perception of love and your definition, how all of these things play a role into what you're experiencing now. So the second huge, huge, huge part of taking your power back is loving yourself. But before you can love yourself, you have to accept yourself. And before you can accept yourself, you have to have a relationship with self. And you have to have that relationship with yourself so you can relate to what's going on a daily basis. Anyway, there's some thoughts on taking your power back, number 2. I'm not going to say that I'll try to get more content out this week. I'll get it out whenever I can. And I hope this helps somebody. So relate to yourself, and then you'll learn to love yourself.